Now for our top story this hour, we start in the Middle East, where the Palestinian Ministry of Health has reported that hospitals in Gaza have reported the deaths of 6 adults due to starvation and malnutrition over the past 24 hours. According to the Gaza-run health ministry, this brings the total of those who have died due to starvation and malnutrition across the enclave to 175, including 93 children. This comes as multiple aid agencies have warned that the worst case of famine is now unfolding in Gaza. However, Israel's Prime Minister and much of his right-wing coalition have said that there is no starvation in the enclave. We're now joined by our guest, Professor Kobi Michael, who's a senior researcher at the INSS and Misgav Institute. He joins us live from Israel. Thank you very much for joining us, Professor Michael, on the program. We, like the rest of the world, is receiving these images of skeletal children throughout the Gaza Strip. It's angered not just people who are watching said news, but also international governments. That includes Israel's allies, which has led, obviously, to take action and to call for the unlimited flow of humanitarian aid into the Gaza Strip. I want to ask you, how do you analyse and how effective do you think that distribution is right now, since Israel has opened more humanitarian corridors in the Gaza Strip?
Hello, and thank you for having me. First of all, I would like to mention, even to emphasize that if we are talking about starvation, I think that it will be much more suitable to talk about the starvation of the Israeli hostages in the Hamas tunnels beneath the ground in the Gaza Strip. And we have some footages that were released by Hamas just in the day before yesterday that indicate what starvation is.
Professor Michael, we can indeed talk about that, but I want you to talk about how aid is being distributed. Obviously, starvation has been reported in the Gaza Strip. The Israeli hostages are also in the Gaza Strip. We saw that video, that harrowing video today that Hamas released of that hostage in Hamas's tunnels. How do you, and we've also seen that Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and much of his government say that there is no starvation in Gaza. What do you say to this?
I'm saying that he is totally right. There is no starvation. It doesn't mean that there are no people who suffer from hunger, and this is because the aid, the humanitarian aid, which is entered to the Gaza Strip, does not reach to them, and this happens in areas which are under Hamas control. And we have to ask ourselves how it comes that in these specific areas which are under Hamas control, or in these specific areas which are under the responsibility of UN agencies, people have no access to food. Okay, because there is no any shortage of food or medical or water or fuel. Everything goes into the Gaza Strip without any limitations, and we have to understand the system, how the system works. There are 3 major entrances of humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip. The northern one, from Zikim area in the Israeli side, we have convoys of the UN that goes directly to the city of Gaza, which is totally controlled by Hamas. And we see what is happening there with these convoys, with these dozens of trucks of humanitarian aid that are looted and stolen by Hamas and by the mob, which is organized by Hamas in order to create the image or the narrative of starvation.
Professor, apologies. Critics to you would say that due to the fact that Israel isn't letting international media into the Gaza Strip, no one can really see what's going on. And your words are directly contradicting that of the World Health Organization, that of the United States. that of the Integrated Food Security Phase Classification, which issued an emergency alert and that said that the worst case of famine is unfolding across Gaza. And this has also obviously been the stem of some of Israel's closest allies soon to recognize a Palestinian state at the United Nations. This is what they've called for, the unlimited flow of aid into the Gaza Strip. Why do you think that there is no starvation in Gaza?
There is no starvation in Gaza, full stop, okay? With regard to the influence of international media, correspondents and reporters, I think that Israel does a mistake in this regard, not because we have to hide something, but due to other reasons. And I think that if the reporters of the international media are taking responsibility upon themselves, they should be allowed to enter the Gaza Strip freely. But you cannot rely on them that their reports will be necessarily reliable reports whenever these reports are coming from the Gaza Strip, whenever they are in the Gaza Strip under the control of Hamas, because they will have two options: to report what Hamas wants to report, or to be murdered by Hamas. But this is their business, not Israel's business, and I think that Israel is wrong in this regard. But reporters of the international media do enter the Gaza Strip with the IDF forces, because when they enter with the IDF forces, the IDF is capable to secure them, to defend them. But as I told you before, at the beginning of my response, I think that this is a mistake that Israel does. And if I would have been responsible for that, I would have allowed that. With regard to the other question that you asked about the declaration of the 19 countries following the Saudi-French initiative, I think that it is not less than a scandal. It is, I would say, a reflection of a very strong will not to learn anything from history. They eventually revive the Palestinian victimhood, they revive the Palestinian refugeehood, they revive the Palestinian, I would say, refusal to accept the right of the Jewish people for self-determination, because the idea of self-determination is mentioned in this declaration 3 times. But in all the 3 times, it refers to the right of the Palestinian people for self-determination. What about the right of the Jewish people for self-determination? This is something that the Palestinians for 120 years refused to accept. And this is the core problem of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Their historical refusal to accept our right to live here in a nation state of the Jewish people in any borders, And don't be confused, please, from the slogan of two-state solution, because when they say two-state solution, they refuse to add only one word: